morning after Super Bowl 60, everyone had a take on the Budweiser spot. The bald eagle in the Clydesdale, the swelling free bird, the golden hour closing shot. Was it moving? Was it AI assisted? Was it the most American thing since apple pie in a Ford F-150? It was absolutely brilliant, but it was the wrong conversation. The right conversation, the one we're spending Monday morning arguing about, isn't whether the ad was good. It was fantastic. It's whether the ad was part of a system. Because Budweiser won USA Today's ad meter for the 10th time, and most of the commentary is fixated on 60 seconds of creative, when the actual story is a multi-month program wrapped around America's 250th birthday and Budweiser's 150th. Budweiser ran the most coordinated anniversary program among 2026 Super Bowl advertisers. And yet, it still was not a fully integrated PESO model operating system. That gap between coordinated and integrated is where most brands lose the compounding value of their biggest creative moments. This is the first PESO Diagnostic. Let's get into it. The PESO Diagnostic is a new monthly series. Every month, we'll run a high visibility campaign through our PESO operating system lens and show where it stops short of true integration. Not to criticize, because a lot of this stuff is freaking brilliant, but to teach. We're starting with the biggest paid moment on the calendar, because if the most expensive ads on the planet aren't running PESO, trust me, nothing is. On this week's SpinSucks podcast episode, we'll discuss the difference between coordinated and integrated, using Budweiser's Super Bowl ad as our example.
If you're a communications pro who works hard, doesn't compromise quality, and gets the job done, welcome home. We'll share our tips, tricks, and stories, and together we will change the face of PR. Spin sucks, but we don't. With the Spin Sucks podcast, here's Gini Dietrich.
Welcome back to the SpinSucks podcast. I'm Gini Dietrich. Before we get started, I have a little tidbit for you. Did you know that if you can't finish watching right now, you can subscribe to the audio version of this show? We're on all the platforms where you get your podcasts, including Spotify and Apple, or you can subscribe to our newsletter at spinsucks.com and receive it in your inbox every Tuesday morning. Budweiser did many things exactly right. So I do not want to be critical of their work. That is not what this is. In many ways, they kicked everyone's butt from a marketing and communications perspective. The Super Bowl spot is called American Icons. It pairs a Clydesdale fowl with a baby bald eagle scored to Freebird. It was directed by Oscar-nominated Henry Alex Rubin. 60 seconds, aired during the big game. It won ad meter. It was, for all intents and purposes, perfection. It's also the headline piece of Made of America, which is Budweiser's broader campaign tied to the brand's 150th anniversary and our 250th anniversary as a country. Sitting underneath that umbrella, you have a few things. You have a heritage can series featuring 4 can designs representing different eras of the brand: the 1950s, the 1980s, the 1990s, and a custom 2026 150th anniversary design. You have vintage-inspired Major League Baseball team cans rolling out across the 2026 season, anchored by Budweiser's decades-long MLB partnership, newly extended through 2032. You have the Bud 150 Club, which is a membership program giving 150 superfans across MLB Jewel events, including the All-Star Game, Field of Dreams, and the World Series. You have legacy player partnerships with Ken Griffey Jr., Randy Johnson, and Mike Piazza showing up across content and appearances all season. And you have sister brand activations with Michelob Ultra layering Team USA and Winter Olympics storytelling under a shared America's competitive spirit theme, while Anheuser-Busch takes the top advertiser position at Super Bowl 60 overall. Most brands don't assemble this much programming in an entire year, probably not in an entire 5 years. The umbrella narrative does real work. Made of America is broad enough to stretch across every activation, but specific enough to mean something. That's harder than it looks, and most brands never get there. The cadence extends past the Super Bowl. Heritage cans ship, the Major League Baseball season opens, legacy player content rolls out, and the 150 Club has year-long moments. This is not February and done, which is great. The product is doing storytelling work. The heritage cans aren't just packaging. They're a small collectible narrative device that keeps the anniversary in people's hands long after the spot stops airing. Super smart. Owned IP is being reused with purpose. The Clydesdale, the Eagles, the 150 years of brand history. Those are not cameos. They're assets that Budweiser has built over decades, finally being deployed in a service of a single arc. Sponsorship leverage is real. Extending MLB through 2032 turns a tactical partnership into a compounding asset. Every future Budweiser activation now has a built-in national stage. Scarcity and experience drive loyalty. 150 club members are the brand's most valuable audience, and Budweiser is feeding them directly instead of treating them as afterthoughts. Strip the peso lens off for a second, and this is a very well-made multi-channel anniversary program. A decade ago, it was the case study every agency would put in the deck, but it's 2026, and a well-made multi-channel program is the floor now, not the ceiling. Here's where it stops short of peso. All right, from an owned media perspective, news releases are not owned media. A newsroom full of product announcements isn't a hub, it's paid paperwork. Where's the deep, durable content property that tells the 150-year story with real substance? The generational brewers, the distributor families, the farmers whose barley goes into every bottle, the military charities the brand supports. That is the kind of content that AI systems cite, journalists mine for years, and search surfaces long after the spot is archived on YouTube. Without it, the $8 million ad is a flash with nowhere to land. Viewers who love the spot have nowhere to go except a can of the moment retail hunt, which in truth is kind of cool. Like, I'm not a beer drinker, but I kind of want the cans. That's a real thing, but they don't have anywhere else to go. From an earned media perspective, the coverage I can find is almost entirely announcement driven. Budweiser unveils the Super Bowl ad. Budweiser launches heritage cans. Budweiser extends MLB. Those are news release wins, not earned media wins. Real earned media would be a heritage journalist profiling the four-generation families at the St. Louis brewery, or a beer writer tracking and tracing the craft evolution of the lager over 150 years, or maybe an Atlantic feature on what American means to the people who actually make the beer. That is credibility transfer. What we're seeing is publicity. From a shared media perspective, the 150 club and collectible cans are merchandising plus loyalty. They're good. They move product. They build affinity. What they don't do is create the user-generated content loop where real people's stories feed back into owned media and give earned media reporters, creators, influencers new threads to pull from. Where's the Made of America community engine, the submission page, the storytelling contest, the everyday Americans whose faces and voices get folded back into the program? Without that, shared is a transaction layer, not a distribution engine. And then from a paid media perspective, the Super Bowl spot and the Major League Baseball partnership are massive anchor buys. Those are massive. They do anchor buy things. They create reach, frequency, and cultural presence. What I can't see is the precision layer. That doesn't mean it's not there, but I can't see it publicly yet. Paid in a peso system should be doing quiet work. It should be retargeting own media hub visitors. It should be sequencing prospects through a content journey. It should be testing messages against different audiences. It should be amplifying earned coverage once it hits. An anchor without precision leaves most of the program's potential value on the table. From the outside, each of these activations appears to live in its own silo, which is not surprising. This is what we see across many enterprise organizations. Merchandising runs the cans, sports marketing runs the Major League Baseball, the agency runs the Super Bowl spot, social runs the fan club. I can't find an editorial spine, a single calendar, a single narrative dashboard, a single team connecting all of that into one arc. That's usually what we call the peso integrator, someone or a team that's connecting all of that so it's integrated, not just connected. And the symptom of silo activations is siloed measurement. Ad meter score here, impression counts there, earned media value over there, club sign up somewhere else. That's a stack of metrics. It's not a system of proof. A campaign with 6 moving parts and no central nervous system isn't a system, it's a parade. Okay, before I start my Monday morning quarterbacking, I want to give you a fair warning. I am not in Budweiser's rooms. I don't know what's running behind the scenes. I don't know what's still to come in the next 9 months of the 150, 250 arc, or what measurement Anheuser-Busch uses internally. Everything I talk about is really, truly Monday morning quarterbacking based on what the public can see of Made of America. Consider it less, here's what Budweiser should have done, and more of, here's what a PESO native version of this program would make it visible. Okay? With that said, first things first, owned media becomes the source of truth. And for anybody who's ever heard me talk about PESO, you know that I believe owned media comes first. And especially in an AI-driven world, owned media has to come first. In this case, a Made of America hub should have launched in January of 2025. So a full year before the ad ran. Long form stories, archival assets, oral histories from Clydesdale handlers and generational brewers, a data layer showing where the barley comes from and which communities benefit. Built to be the piece that AI systems cite for the next decade when someone searches for American brands that mark the 250th, for instance. The Super Bowl spot does not open this campaign. It punctuates it. Every viewer who loves the ad lands on that owned media hub, not in the can aisle. It should run in the can aisle, but it also should have something from an owned media perspective. And then earned media does a credibility transfer. So they would be pitching heritage journalists in Q4 of last year with the owned media hub as the backdrop, the Smithsonian, the Atlantic, AP, trade media. So that when the spot airs in February, reporters aren't writing Budweiser aired a nostalgic ad last night. They're writing Budweiser's year-long American program culminates at Super Bowl 60. Same coverage footprint, different credibility. And then shared media becomes the engine. It invites people to share their own Made of America stories, the small businesses, the veterans, the farmers, the families. Curate the best of all of that back into your owned media. That gives journalists endless threads to pull. It gives the campaigns legs past February, and it turns fans into distribution. Transactions become conversations, become content. And then paid gets precise. The Super Bowl ad and the Major League Baseball anchor stay exactly where they are. What changes is the morning after. Every person who visits the anchor hub on the website gets retargeted. And we're visiting that because we know that from social and from the ad, right? Every email sign up is sequenced through a 6-month content journey that culminates in a product moment or a community call to action. It's anchor, the anchor ad, the anchor partnership plus precision, not anchor alone. And then measurement becomes one scorecard. Instead of 6 silos, we have 6 questions. Did branded search lift for Budweiser American Heritage? Did AI citations rates grow? What was the traffic to owned media conversion from the ad? Did tier 1 earned placements land? Did the 150 club remain or retain at higher rates? And what's this 12-month revenue attribution? Where did all of this influence revenue? That's not a bigger campaign. It's not more work. It's a different species of work. It costs more in coordination because you have a dedicated editorial lead, a cross-silo governance rhythm, a measurement layer that integrates across owned, earned, shared, and paid. And it's usually somebody called the PESO integrator or a couple of people that are integrating PESO. So it may cost a little bit more in coordination, but it's not more work. It doesn't necessarily cost more in media, and it compounds for years. This is not about $8 million ad budgets. The PESO question can be applied to any campaign regardless of budget. So 3 questions to ask after any big moment, yours, a client's, or competitors. Number 1, where did the traffic go? And was there anything worth finding? If the answer is our homepage, you did not build owned media, you built a landing zone. Number 2, did reporters, creators, and influencers have context before the moment, or were they reaching to it? If your PR team was pitching after the campaign was launched, or they're pitching announcements, you bought publicity. You did not earn credibility. And number 3, can you tell me in one number what the whole thing accomplished for the business? If that answer is a list, impressions, engagements, ABEs, signups, share of voice, viewers, you measured activity. You did not prove outcome. If you can't give 3 clean answers to those 3 questions, you ran a campaign, you did not run a system. The difference is not money. The difference is not budget. The difference is not resources. It's sequencing, depth, and a central nervous system. Any brand, any budget can build those 3 things. Now, if you would like to see where your own integration gaps live, you can take our self-assessed PESO Diagnostic. It runs your program through the same questions we just ran Budweiser through and tells you where your paid, earned, shared, and owned are genuinely connected and where they're working alone, pretending to be a system. You can find it for free, self-diagnostic, nothing in it for us. You can find it at spinsucks.com/self-PESO-diagnostic. That's spinsucks.com/self-PESO-diagnostic. The PESO Diagnostic, not the self-assessed one. This one is a monthly series where we run high visibility campaigns through the PESO operating system to show where coordination ends and integration begins. If you'd like more ideas on how to embed PESO as your operating system, join us in the SpinSucks community. It's a great place to get advice, brainstorm ideas, and build real relationships with your peers. You can find us at spinsucks.com/community. That's spinsucks.com/community. And make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. We're posting tips, how-tos, cheat sheets, and more every week. I'll see you next week.